Signing on for today's lesson, and our quote for today is follow your instincts. God gave them to you for a reason. And this is a life lesson that I probably have multiple examples of in my own life that kind of reaffirmed and reiterated those instances when I should have followed my instincts. Do you ever have those experiences, or have you ever had those experiences where there's something that you want to do, or perhaps something that you want to buy, but somewhere in your mind or in your spirit, your subconscious, whatever, there's this simple little niggling that says, like, don't do it? And have you ever just kind of pushed that aside and rationalized why you should do it? And I'm not talking about those things related to, like, oh, a fear of doing something. That's very, very different. But this is a knowing, as the old people, say, like, I just felt in my spirit that something wasn't just right, or it just didn't rest well with my spirit. I'm talking about those kinds of things where, again, you're getting ready to do something, buy something, perhaps even say something, and you know that you shouldn't. Somewhere in the corner of your mind, you know that you shouldn't, but you convince yourself to move forward with it anyway. And then it doesn't turn out the way that you had hoped that it would. And I know for me, one time that this happened previously was, of course, years ago, related to my career. And I had this career opportunity presented to me. And initially, there was some excitement around the opportunity. And then the more I thought about it, it was just something just wasn't quite right about the opportunity. And I went through this whole thing of, not feeling like, I don't know if I should. I think maybe I should, but maybe I shouldn't. And there was some hesitation there. There was definitely something about it that just did not, quote unquote, rest well with my spirit. But I convinced myself to do it anyway. And I kid you not, it was probably one of the worst, if not the worst, career decision I've ever made. Thankfully, God is gracious and He is merciful, and He redeemed it. He actually, absolutely, positively, 100% redeemed it. And one of the things that I'm grateful for was, and you heard me talk on an earlier life lesson about how when you go through something difficult, that you'd rather go through it with Him than without Him, and Him being God. And of course, He walked with me through that entire situation. But it was definitely one of those situations where I knew somewhere in my spirit that that was not the direction that I needed to follow. I had, those were my instincts talking. From some people call it, your intuition. And you just know, like you said, this whole thing of I can't quite put my finger on it, but I know that something's just not right. Um, we need to pay attention to that. God gave us our instincts for a reason. Instincts can warn us of danger. Instincts can warn us of what is about to be a bad decision, oftentimes. And then sometimes it's the complete opposite, where you may get an unction. That's an old church word. You may get an unction to do something and you don't do it. And then later on, you find out it's too late. And I've had that happen a couple of times as well. One instance that comes to mind was there was an elderly lady that I was going to church with, and I had this really strong unction to go and visit her. And I didn't. I just put it off, put it off, put it off, and she passed away before I could go and visit her. And I was just so upset by it because I had had the instinct to go and visit her. Something else, and this one I could stand up and kick myself right now. I remember years ago when Google first came out, I was approached with an opportunity to invest in Google. And I remember thinking, Google, that's such a silly word. And no offense to the Googles. I know some Googles, if y'all are watching or if y'all know the Googles. I love the Googles. Love Gwen and all the boys and Regina. Well, Regina is not a Google anymore, but originally she was a Google. And I just remember thinking, like, that's a silly word. And, that's probably a scam. I'm not going to invest in it. We all know that Google turned out not to be a scam. But I didn't. And it was something about it, even when I saw it, while there was a part of me going, yeah, and there was a part of me going, you know what, this could actually be something good. And I didn't follow my instincts on that one, which if I had, I don't know if I'd be sitting here talking to y'all on these 60 days of wisdom. I might be laying on a beach somewhere, with a pretty little drink with an umbrella in it. I don't know. Maybe I would still be here. I don't know. Who's to say? But I didn't follow my instincts on it, so I'm here with you all, warning you to follow your instincts. So ask yourself, are those experiences that I have when I get that little unction to either do something and I ignore it, or to not do something and I ignore it, is that me just really ignoring the instincts that God has given me? So I encourage you to pay attention to that. Pay attention to those little nigglings that you get. Again, it could be warning you of something dangerous, something for you that would not be in the best interest for you or be in your best interest. Or it could be something that, hey, this is a great opportunity, pay attention. Either side, you want to not ignore that. Don't ignore your instincts. Pay attention to those instincts because God gave them to us for a reason. So don't be like God was, you know, and ignore that little niggling. If it says don't do and the danger sign is splashing in your head, don't do it. Don't do it. Pay attention to the danger sign. And if it's something that is calling you to perhaps, like I said, invest in something like Google, and it feels like this might be a good idea, then go for it. But as they say on those financial classes, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I learned in my own life, okay? So that's our lesson for today. Hashtag life lessons. Hashtag live. I was going to say live and learn, which I guess we live and learn too. If we didn't live and learn, we wouldn't have life lessons. But hashtag listen and learn. Hashtag words of wisdom. Follow your instincts. God gave them to you for a reason. Signing off.